Hey everyone, and welcome back to another Tuesday tip, where in this video we're going to be giving you an extremely easy to follow guide for buying a BMX bike. So when it comes to buying a BMX bike, all of the options and brands and everything that goes with them can be extremely overwhelming. Do you want double-walled rims? Do you want chromoly, sealed? All of the different options that can factor into the decision of which BMX bike to buy, and whether it's a complete from a bike shop or a bike from Craigslist or the Facebook Marketplace. This guide will help you in the decision of which BMX bike you should buy. And I'm here to make this as simple as possible because I know how complex and overwhelming it can be. And to do that, all I did was make a table of all of the different features of a BMX bike, whether it's double-walled rims, chromoly frame, chromoly fork, chromoly bars. And the name of the game here, and as you can see on the screen right now, is to check as many boxes on this table that you can for the least amount of money. And I put these things in somewhat of an order because there are some things that are more important than others, especially when it comes to the longevity of the bike that you're buying. So let's run through the table and the feature list and talk about all of the different things that you'll want to look out for when buying a BMX bike. And then after that, we'll run through the differences between buying a complete brand new bike from a bike shop and buying a used bike anywhere else. And in general, like I said, the name of the game here is to check as many boxes as you possibly can on this table for the least amount of money. So pick a few different options on bikes that you're interested in, whether it's a custom complete bike from somewhere or a complete bike from a bike shop, and then just start checking the boxes that apply to that bike in the option. You can make this table for yourself as well. All you got to do is pause the video and just copy these things down. Obviously, budget is something that has to be considered and factored into all of this as well. But the way that I designed this table is that no matter what your budget is, you'll be able to use it and figure out which bike within your budget fits and is the best value for you. So just run through the parts list on the bikes, checking all of the boxes that apply to it, and then at the bottom put the total number of checks and the total price. And whichever bike has the most amount of checks for the least amount of money is clearly the better option for your money. And so if all you're really looking for is the easiest way to figure out which bike to buy, and you really don't care about what any of these things mean or why they're in the order that they are on the list, just take the table or make one yourself and check all of the boxes and figure out which one checks the most boxes for the least amount of money. For those of you who do want to learn more about these options, what they mean, why you might want to make sure that you select certain options on this list, and why they're in the order that they are, we're going to get into that right now. Starting at the top of the list, and the first and most important thing that I would be on the lookout for in buying a complete BMX bike would be double-walled rims, because that is the first thing that's going to go if you're actually trying to ride freestyle and trying tricks. If you have a single wall rim, even just the weight of the bike on certain tricks can bend the rim, and that's going to be the first thing that stops you from being able to ride the bike, and it's going to be the first thing that means you have to work on your bike. So that's at the top of the list for me. And then after that, I put sealed front and rear hubs. This is another one that goes towards the top of the list because it's one of the first things to go whenever you have the unsealed version of it, and having unsealed hubs go out on you is an expensive fix that can be prevented by getting a just little bit better of a bike in the first place that comes with sealed bearings in the hubs. And it's just one of those things that you don't want to have to replace instantly on a bike whenever you buy it. And the reason that double-walled rims and sealed hubs comes before chromoly parts on my list is because these are things that no matter who you are, how long you've been riding, or what you're trying, they can go out on you, and they can go out before other things. And while I would recommend going with a bike that allows you to check all of the chromoly options on the table, the reason why sealed hubs and double-walled rims comes before for these options for me is because no matter what skill level you're at or how long you've been riding, buying a bike with unsealed hubs and single wall rims could go wrong before you would break the frame. And that leads me into talking about the chromoly options. These are options that I would absolutely, without a doubt, recommend that you pick a bike that checks these options off, as well as the sealed hubs and double-walled rims options. If you check all of the chromoly options off and the sealed hubs and double-walled rims, chances are you're going to be getting a quality bike. These 6 options are the most important boxes to check if you're going to be doing more with your bike than just riding it up and down the street and riding in circles. If you plan on riding freestyle BMX and learning tricks, or just doing more than just riding it as a bicycle, and if you want your bike to last any amount of time and stick with you until you're ready to upgrade to aftermarket parts, you're going to want to check these options. The alternative to the chromoly frame, fork, and bar is high tensile steel parts and the mixture of high tensile steel and chromoly parts depending on the bike that you're getting on the frame itself. And the reality of it is that these are budget parts meant to lower the cost of a bike, therefore going on to a lower quality and lower cost bike. And checking the chromoly parts options on this table means that you're getting a higher quality bike that will not only last you longer, but also be stronger while you're trying to learn how to ride freestyle BMX. Then after the chromoly parts options comes 2 options that you're most likely already going to have checked off if you checked off the chromoly frame option. These are the integrated headset and the mid bottom bracket. These are things that you get into when you take a step above the lowest tier option on a brand new complete bike. And if you're buying a used bike from someone, chances are you're not going to have to worry about this whatsoever, because unsealed American bottom brackets and unsealed headset bearings are usually reserved for the lowest of the low tiers on complete bicycles or older style frames that are more than 10 years old. And a real quick tip for those of you who are looking at used bikes: if you are looking at a bike and it has an unsealed bearing in the headset, it is a cheap frame and it's probably not chromoly, so you're going to want to stay away from that one. And now we get to the part of the table where things are more luxury and just nice to have than they are essentials when it comes to buying a BMX bike. These are things that are options when buying a BMX bike, so they have to be included in the table, but they're not necessarily vital to the longevity of your bike. There are a few of them that could be important and are things that if you bought a bike that didn't have them, you might want to swap out in the near future, but they're not going to be detrimental to you, your health, or break immediately when just trying to learn how to ride. And if anything, they are just more possibilities for boxes to check to make sure that you're getting a better value for your money. The first of these is 48 spline cranks. These are generally built better and last longer than the 8 spline pinch bolt cranks that come on a lot of complete bikes. So this is one way to know that you're getting a better bike for your money, because 48 spline cranks are generally more expensive and absolutely last longer than the other options. Next is CNC'd or forged stems. A cast stem is something that comes on cheaper bikes, and it's something that's used to lower the cost of complete bikes. So if you can find out whether or not a stem is CNC'd or forged, it's definitely something that's a positive when buying a bike if it comes on it, but it's not absolutely necessary. It's just one of those things that you might want to replace in the near future if your bike comes with a cast stem. Next on the list is an aluminum sprocket. This is another one of those things that's just a sign of the quality of the bike that you're getting. If you're buying a bike and it has a steel stamped sprocket, this is just another one of those cost-saving measures that companies use to bring down the price on a complete bike. And if you're buying a used bike and it has a steel sprocket on it, it's just a warning sign to look out for other parts on the bike that might not be as high of quality. So while it's not 100% necessary to have an aluminum sprocket, it is a good sign of the rest of the bike's quality. And from here on out, we're looking at things that are 100% luxury, nice to have things. The first one is female hubs. This is just a sign of a higher quality part, like we've been talking about in the pattern that's been developing. Then high PSI tires on something like a brand new complete bike let you know the quality of the components that the company used on the bike, because higher PSI tires cost more, therefore raising the price. But they're also an afterthought because tires are something that most people go through pretty quickly and replace on a regular basis. After that are pegs and hub guards. These are purely bonus items that if they come on your bike, it's another box to check in the equation in picking which bike to buy. And that's the end of the list of things to check off. So let's talk about the new bike versus used bike argument. I definitely recommend, if you're going to buy a new bike, buy it from a bike shop. You can go in, you can talk to the people, you can meet them. Usually they can help you out in picking which bike is right for you, and you're also supporting your community or whatever community that the bike shop is in. But I also realize that sometimes you can get extremely good deals by buying used bikes from the internet or just wherever you might find it. So it's up to you to go online, go to your bike shop, look at all of your options. But when you're buying a used bike, there's a few things that you definitely want to check out. Make sure that you look at the entire bike from front tire to back tire, inspecting every single part for any obvious signs of serious wear. And one way to know whether or not you're getting your money's worth out of a used bike is to take that bike at that price and compare it to a complete bike at the same price, or maybe even a little bit more expensive, and use the table that we've been talking about in this video to compare what features you're getting at this price point between a complete brand new bike from, say, a bike shop and a used bike wherever you found it at. Buying a used bike from someone that you don't know can be a gamble, just like buying anything else used in life. So be smart when you're buying a used bike. Make sure you meet in a public place. And if you check over the bike from front to back and you do your research, you can sometimes get a fantastic deal that brings you much greater value for your money than it might bring, say, if you bought a complete brand new bike. You won't get the same service, treatment, or maybe even warranty from a used bike that you might get from a brand new bike at a bike shop. But sometimes the difference in value can totally be worth it. You just have to use the table that I provided, or just recreate it following the table that's on the screen right now, to find out which option is best for you and which option gives you the most value for your money. Just check the most boxes for the least amount of money, and you will be getting the best bike possible for your money. One thing that I want to touch on in regards to when you're looking at complete brand new bikes at a certain price range between companies, unless you're talking about the complete top of the line, best possible bike that they offer, most likely these bikes are just about the exact same thing at the same price ranges. For example, a $400 Fit Complete bike versus a $400 Sabrosa Complete bike are going to be just about the exact same thing, other than maybe the colors and the brands used for the smaller components. But for all intents and purposes, they're basically the same bike. It's just the name and the stickers that are on them that is different. So if you're looking at bikes and you don't really care about brands or models, the more important things to focus on are the geometry and things like that. So if you're looking at complete bikes, be aware of this and focus more on the geometry of the bike maybe, because that's going to be more suited to you versus the stickers and the color and the small components that come on it. And in reality, unless you're buying the absolute top of the line complete bike from a company, you're going to be getting the same parts throughout different companies. There might be a few small differences between certain companies because some offer better value than others. This is exactly what this table and form is for, so that you can find those bikes in those companies and pick the bike that gives you the best value. With that being said, I hope you guys found this video useful, and hopefully you guys can go out and find a great deal on your first BMX bike, or maybe even an upgraded BMX bike. If you do, let me know in the comments down below what you bought, how much you bought it for. Maybe we can talk about if it was a great deal, maybe it wasn't a great deal. Either way though, thank you guys for watching. If you enjoyed the video and you're new here, hit the subscribe button down below. I come out with new tips and tricks videos just like this one every Tuesday, as well as BMX news videos on Fridays and other types of riding videos and streams throughout the week. Thank you again for watching, and we'll see you next time. Goodbye.